You are live.
Great, thank you. All right, thank you everyone for joining us. This begins the pre-meeting for the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing today, September 17th, 2020. During the pre-meeting, staff and board members review cases. There is no participation by applicants or the public. Following the conclusion of the pre-meeting, a public hearing will be held at 6 p.m. Here, all cases will be heard, applicants will present, and public comments submitted after staff reports compiled will be read into the record, and anyone who has signed up to speak will also do so at that time. After the conclusion of the hearing, deliberations will immediately follow. The zoning board will take action on cases that were heard at the public hearing. There is no participation by applicants or the public during that time. And I ask that all staff, board members, and all others on the call mute their microphone when they're not speaking, and then take yourself off mute when you're ready to speak, just to cut down on background noise. So before we get started, I'll run through the cases for site visits. So for case number 1, is there anyone that did not visit the site? Okay, so all 4 members visited site number 1, which is 1260 Lyle Avenue. Case number 2, 318 Emerson Street. Anybody that did not visit the site? Perfect. All board members present visited case 2. Case number 3, 646-648 Thurston Road. Any board members present not visit the site? Good. All board members present visited case 3. Case number 4, 147 Hillcrest Street. Anybody not visit the site? All board members visited case number 4. Case number 5, 10 Reliance Street. Anybody not visit the site? All right. And all board members visited case 5. And case number 6, any board members not visit the site on Flower City Park? Great, thank you all. All board members visited site case number 6, 33-35 Flower City Park. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Case number 1, any questions on case number 1? This is 1260 Lyle Ave. I do want to note initially the property was listed as 1230-1244 Lyle, which is just the parcel to the east of this one. I later corrected it to reflect 1260 Lyle because the sign, while it's close to the property line, will actually be on 1260. And there was a re-subdivision at one point that had moved lot lines, but the actual parcel is 1260 right there in front of the Rochester Optical Building. So anyone have any questions on this one? Pretty straightforward. Case number 2 is 318 Emerson. Applicant is seeking to retain the rights as a 2-family dwelling. Any questions on this one?
Yes, financials. We don't have any.
There on the 4th page, it just show what I don't, is that to get it to its, is that Matt?
I see what you're saying, Jim.
Yeah. Is that to get it back to its current, to the 2-family, what we're seeing, the 47,000?
Yeah, what you don't see, bear with me 1 second. That page didn't copy. I'm going to circle back on that after the pre-meeting. Hold tight on 318 Emerson. Case number 3, 646-648 Thurston Road. Any questions on this one?
I'm about to try.
So Matt, just so I'm clear really quickly, with case number 2, you guys are going back to that, correct?
I am going to go back to that. I am
Okay.
going to jump through our files here. It
Thank
appears what happened is that page 2 of the financial page that Jim referenced did not copy over. And I want to try to locate that. So I'm going to come back to that. Case 3 is Thurston Road on the corner of Sheldon Terrace. This is a fence directly in front of an existing retaining wall that's there. Any questions on this one?
So the fence is in front of the retaining wall, not on top of it, correct?
Correct. The plan is to put it right at the base in front of it, not, so if you're standing on the sidewalk,
Gotcha.
it's
Okay.
grade with sidewalk, basically. Yes.
And then they want to bring this one around to the front too, or?
No, they want to leave what's there. So this would just be along the side. So just the
Gotcha.
Sheldon Terrace frontage.
Okay. I'm
But
good.
I do have a question about that. And that question is, if they're going to put that fence where they want to put it on, they're actually going to be putting that fence on city property, not on their own property.
Yeah, so it's a good point, Jim. So the survey map shows that is basically like right on the line. So we're gonna so what happened was, and the applicant can detail a little bit more about this. He reported to us that he's having issues with people sitting on the wall. So putting the fence on top of the wall was not going to eliminate his reason for doing it. And because it's basically right on the line there, it's going to be within inches, basically. We'll work with DES on that if they have any concerns. But yeah, it is right adjacent to the property line.
Good. I was just hoping they had talked to somebody from the city about it, and that's good.
Yep, it was noted. Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions on case 4, another fence? This one's not a corner. The application includes just putting putting the fence in a portion of the front yard, but to the right of the dwelling, not in front of the dwelling.
Yeah, Matt, on the very first page, they're under code compliance.
Mm-hmm.
You got to change
Oh, yes.
Sheldon Terrace to Hillcrest Street. It's
been corrected. You will see on the screen during the hearing, I've redacted that. That was incorrect.
Okay.
It's a reflective to the right of the dwelling outlined in that like blue color that's on the map of where the fence is going. That was an error. Case number 5, another fence, this one back on a corner. So this would be fencing installed along the North Clinton frontage along the sidewalk there across the street from the parking. Any questions on Reliance?
No.
In the last case I want to talk a little bit about, because there's a little more to it and you also got some feedback that I want to clarify. So what's going on here is this, the property owner has owned the property for about 30 years. And when he purchased the property, he reported that he had it paved, and the person who did the work expanded the driveway and apparently told them they had a permit. I don't know, question for him whether or not he asked or whether or not he followed up. But at any rate, he came to the office to get a permit to repave the driveway and presented to us a survey map that shows how the driveway was originally there. Contractor went out with the permit and said, hey, what you have a permit for is not what's actually out there. So while he wants to repave the driveway, the issue is that the expansion is not legal. So what you're looking at is legalizing that so that he can expand it. So you'll be making a decision on whether or not that's okay. If you look in the staff report, the survey map, you can see how the driveway originally was that single car width wide along the side of the house and then expanded out to meet the garage at the rear. Whereas the expansion that occurred, which was not legal, it did not have a permit, is what's under review now. You received some public feedback from an area resident. Much of it is not relative to the case. The property is vacant. There's an open certificate of occupancy case that he's working on. You can talk to him more about that. And the reason it says it's not currently in code enforcement is because that code enforcement section is if it's directly related to what the variance is for. You know, they may be in code enforcement for other property code issues, but not necessarily for what they're here for. So that's the story on this one, looking to legalize so that it can be repaid.
Is that area zoned for doubles?
It's non-conforming, so you wouldn't be able to do it now, but so it's a 2-family and an R1. I think this was constructed that way. So it's
Yeah,
it's legally non-conforming, can continue to operate.
It hasn't lost its rights though.
If it was built that way, it would not lose any rights.
That's what I wanted to make sure.
Yep. It's only if it was converted at a time after the
Gotcha.
construction.
That's what I thought. I just needed my memory.
Yeah,
jogged.
oh, that's a good question. Any questions on the last one?
I do have a question because the last property that we had that was similar to this, where we asked them to return the asphalt to green space. I have the luxury of living in that vicinity, and the space has never been turned back to green space. It's just gravel. And so how are we
Did it get
really,
removed?
I'm sorry?
Did the asphalt get removed?
I don't think the asphalt got removed. The gravel literally is still there. So I don't think they had the asphalt. It was always like there so that they could prep it and put asphalt. However, I can email you in a separate message the property address, but I'm just concerned when we have properties like this and, you know, we want some type of plan for the green space. And you know, I'm just a board member and I just happen to live in that area and I see it and it just never turns back into that.
I think I know the property you're talking about. I'm gonna look it up. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I believe the asphalt was removed, but they left the gravel underneath.
Right, and it looks exactly, and there's cars still parked on it as if it's asphalt, which is what.
So there is a case
What they
still
want to
open
do.
on it. It's not been closed. The city has not said the work is done. So what happens at that point is the city uses the tools that it has through ticketing or what have you to force the owner into doing the work.
Okay, well, I'll address my other questions to the applicant about, you know, green space and all that kind of
Yes,
questions, because those are the things that I think that I'll have to ask are specifically to the applicant.
Sure.
But I just wanted to know in
That's a good
general, you know, how are those cases managed? Because I think that this is similar to that.
yeah, so this one is still open. Gravel not removed yet, attempting to make contact with the owner. Grass still not in. This was the last note, so it has not gone away.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep. Okay, any questions on that? What we're gonna do is reconvene at 6. I'm going to work on this Emerson, and then we will go from there. Anybody have any questions?
Matt, the last verbiage I have hasn't changed, correct?
No, I believe you have the updated one with the calling comments, right?
Yep.
Yep, no, nothing's changed since then.
Okay.
Just like a month or two ago, month and a half
Okay,
ago.
cool.
Okay. Yep, we're good. Okay.
Sorry, Matt, before we leave, are we gonna go back to case 2,
We are.
Emerson?
I have to locate the financials. They didn't copy over in the staff report.
Okay,
Matt, if you do find that, would you email that to all of us?
Yep, I will. I'm gonna work on that right now.
Okay.
thank you.
That second page, or the back page. Okay, all right, thank you, everyone. We will reconvene at 6 p.m. for the public hearing.